how would that work, and what's the perspective?
He's standing trial now, and I hope he faces consequences for his crimes, and that will be something that we will be able to deliver for the people that have been victimized by him and his actions over the years. And then when that is done and that process is over, he should never be allowed to be free in the United States of America. So even if he goes home to his home country, my hope is that he will be incarcerated there for the rest of his life as well.
Will he remain in the United States up until the point of trial?
That's not under my purview, but my hope is that he would be able to face consequences for his crimes. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Secretary, what do you think about the Dignity Act of 2025 that was released on Maria Salazar introduced? Do you support it?
Well, I've not read the act as she introduced it. I've talked to Maria extensively about it and her ideas in this legislation, and I think it's a great discussion for Congress to have. We'll continue to work with her and with the White House on what we can do to look at immigration law in this country and see what we can do to meet some of the needs that we have. Listen, immigration reform has been needed for many, many years, and I appreciate her and her leadership in bringing forward a bill that can start that discussion. Yes.
Just talking about Abruptly Garcia, you've mentioned that he is, in fact, an MS-13 member. There was witness testimony that the attorney for Abruptly Garcia disputed that said that there were no signs or markings that he was, in fact, an MS-13 gang member. So what criteria has DHS used to, in fact, label him an MS-13 gang member?
There's a large case built against Abrego Garcia, and people will continue to see that throughout trial, and they'll continue to see that throughout this case. I will say that him consistently being surrounded and working with those gang members to traffic individuals across the state for many, many years, and working in conjunction with them and targeting individuals of rival gangs against MS-13, and even helping to help facilitate the murder of a mother of one of the rival gangs that is opposed to MS-13. All of that builds into a case of work that has been done for many years against this individual. He is a monster, and he is tied to a terrorist organization that has perpetuated violence against human beings for many, many years. My hope is that he will stand trial and get the consequences of his actions, and that justice will be served for his victims.
And you brought up Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connor, that he's been going after ICE agents. I had an interaction with him when he said the real concern is not releasing the names of ICE agents, but the...
No, that is a real concern. It is a real concern that he has jeopardized them and their families. They face violent acts. Their families are targeted. They're doxxed. Their personal information is put out there, and people are treating them horrifically. And he needs to stop and knock it off and grow up and act like a leader and start sending his law enforcement officers to have our backs. Because what we are doing is upholding the law. We are upholding the law every single day. If he doesn't like the law, go change it. Go to the federal government and change the law. But what we are doing here is making our streets safer for the people of Nashville, and the people of Nashville overwhelmingly support getting criminals off of their streets. He should be helping us do that.
Well, he's saying that the unmasking of that ICE agents need to be unmasked, that's the real concern.
So Mayor O'Connell's much more worried about victimizing our law enforcement officers than he is going after criminals? This guy's priorities are completely screwed up, and he doesn't deserve to be a mayor. He doesn't deserve to be in office. Yes.
Secretary, do you have any specific information you can share with us about the number of additional agents or the additional resources you plan to bring to Nashville or Tennessee?
Well, that analysis is getting done. We will have dozens of more officers and agents that will be here in the Nashville area. And we will continue to make sure that there are resources not just in Nashville, but throughout the state, and also this office covers Kentucky as well. So we will do an analysis of where we see criminal activity and where we need those individuals to make sure that we can have people go forward and do their operations and do them safely. Clearly, when there is a sanctuary city or there's a sanctuary state, we're going to have to put more federal officers there, because there's not a cooperative agreement with the local and state law enforcement that has their backs and allows them to conduct their operations safely. So when you're looking at a city like New York City or Nashville or Chicago, Illinois, we're going to have to put more federal officers there in order to run our operations safely. But we have over 800 agreements across this country with other city, local, and state officials that partner with us every single day. And we're so thrilled to have those leaders in those cities being grateful that we're there cleaning up their streets and getting dangerous individuals off their streets. Thousands and thousands of mayors and governors and local officials and sheriffs and city council members across this country are partnering with us and working with us every day so that when we go out and do an operation, they have our backs. And they're helping us secure locations, and they're partnering with us. It's unfortunate we don't have that kind of working relationship here in Nashville. And last question.
Madam Secretary, back in May, ICE agents cooperated with THP troopers for traffic enforcement stop. So far, we've been blocked by local and state authorities to look at biographical data for those people to ensure Hispanics weren't unlawfully being targeted. Will ICE release that data if locals won't?
Do you have any indication that anybody was targeted just specifically because of what their race or creed was?
CAD reports that I have right now on those show disproportionately Hispanic people being stopped and detained.
Every single enforcement action that we have, every single enforcement operation that we have conducted has been based on a casework and investigative reports on criminal activities and where we know that there is those types of things going on and individuals are located. All right, good. We will release any information that's available that we can according to the law, and we have been extremely transparent. This has been the most transparent administration that we have had in a very long time on operations that we have on the ground, and that's one of the things that makes me so proud to work for President Trump, is that he has been an open book on making sure that he's following through on exactly what the American people have asked him to do. Focus on, number one, securing the border. For 2 months in a row now, we have 0 illegal aliens that have crossed our borders and come into this country, and that is one thing that has done amazing results in making sure that we're keeping Americans safe. The second thing he has promised to do, that overwhelmingly the American people wanted him to, was to get the worst of the worst off of our streets. And so our focus is there, and that's what we will continue to do, is to provide operations that remove these murderers, rapists, pedophiles, and human traffickers and drug traffickers off of our streets. When you look at the table in front of me, these are all drugs and guns that have been taken off of the streets from this office and this area, this state, that are no longer out there killing our children, that are no longer out there perpetuating drug addiction and splitting up families and conducting violence on the streets. They have been brought into and taken away from criminals and terrorist organizations because of the work that these officers do. My hope is that we can continue to do this kind of work and do it in a way that makes sure that we're honoring our law enforcement officers and we're recognizing the rule of law needs to be enforced and enhanced here in the United States. That's what the American people demanded, and that's what President Trump is following through on. So thank you. You guys have a wonderful day.
Are you concerned about people impersonating ICE agents?
Does it not make the U.S. less safe if you just deport terrorists instead of charge them and jail them?
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Well done. You guys mind hanging out here? It's a tear down. So we'll be here for about 5 minutes.